shocked me, bro.
Just like these transfers shocked the world. Today we're gonna be creating a tier list.
We're gonna be ranking some of the most shocking transfers in the history of football.
This is gonna be based on the impact that they had on the world of football.
Stay tuned to see the results. All right, first one up, we got a juicy one. David Beckham moving from Real Madrid to LA Galaxy. Do you remember that? What do you think of it? The impact it had?
2007. I'd say that's probably the transfer that single-handedly revolutionized football, or soccer as they call it here, in the US. It is probably the biggest, even bigger than the Messi one, I think, because with his transfer, it started like the first transfer where a player who's kind of still in their prime leaves Europe to the MLS, which at the time was a lot smaller than it is now. That was kind of like the first big one. There was a couple other big names, but usually people would come out of like retire, or they'd come to like retire here.
Like Pelé with Cosmo or
Hugo Sanchez or
exactly.
Jorge Campos or something like that. So I think Stoichkov played there too. So there's a couple big names before that, but he was like the first one who's like, all right, I want to come make a change in the league. I mean,
I think it was all more, a lot of it was business behind the scenes,
yeah.
But I mean, you didn't hear of a player to still in his prime move over to the States.
I think it was successful for the league overall because now it made more players want to come. After that we saw a splurge of like David Villa, Pirlo, Kaká, like all these guys coming over. Obviously they were in the later stage. Like I don't really think we're gonna be seeing many of them in their prime coming because why would they? There's really no point. But I think it did start like a mini revolution per se in the MLS.
The first Saudi before Saudi?
Yeah, basically.
What do you want to rank this one? Tier S?
Yeah, I think we'll put it S tier because for what it did for American football, it's S tier for sure.
Okay. Next one up, we have another shocking transfer that pretty much changed the money game in the world of football forever. Neymar from Barca to PSG for a whopping, like almost 200 mil?
It's still, to date, I think it was 222 million euros, right? To date, it's still the highest transfer of all time. I don't know if it was unexpected per se, because there was a lot of talk that summer after how the things ended with Barcelona. I think we can say now it probably wasn't the best decision for him in the long run.
No, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys watched his documentary, but he tried to come back on a couple occasions. And then as far as the project, or the soccer project went, they signed him to win the Champions League and they didn't, so.
And I think as far as it goes, like money, like business, economy-wise in the football, it ruined the transfer market. Because
exactly.
Now all those, you're paying 100 million doesn't even seem like that much anymore.
For like players like Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony, Lukaku,
exactly.
Like all these guys. 100 million and it was like nothing. Although I feel like a little bit now it's kind of balanced. It's not perfectly balanced like it was before, but it's gone down a little bit.
Yeah, but 222 for, Neymar deserves his flowers, but it's still a lot and just pretty much broke the market from that point forward.
Yeah.
Impact, it's pretty much going S because it just broke the market, but as far as, I don't know, success and cost effective.
Has to bring it down a little bit probably, so maybe we'll put it in. Yeah, so I think we're gonna put this in the F category because we're looking at positive impact here, like which one's made the most positive impact, and Neymar's was all around a failure. Price, economy, ruin. PSG, they were already winning the French league, so like they didn't really get any Champions League success, so I think that's why we're gonna leave it in the F tier.
Another juicy one I got for you is Messi from Newell's Old Boys to Barcelona, which was signed on a piece of napkin. Those who don't know now. They signed Messi in a napkin in a bar. So that pretty much changed the history of football.
Yeah, but with that happening, Messi to Barca basically created the best player of all time. We'll probably never see anything like that again. So overall impact, it's gotta be S tier. Without that, we would have never seen Messi, so we would have missed out on a lot.
Watch out for whoever gets a contract on a napkin in the future. Sol Campbell from Spurs to Arsenal, which was before the Fabrizio Romano times where you could just get an update every hour. Direct rival pretty impactful. Like I said, going from a direct rival in the Premier League, and his transfer was pretty successful in terms of achievements with Arsenal. But
I mean, yeah, you didn't really see many betrayals like that, and I'm pretty sure he said on multiple times like he would never play for Arsenal and stuff. So I think most Spurs fans probably just woke up one day and they're like, wait, I think he was captain for Spurs at the time. Like now he's on Arsenal, like especially because the Spurs-Arsenal rivalry was in a heated spot at the time.
Tier, what would you rank Sol Campbell's move?
I'd put this in the B tier just because it was an unexpected move. Sol Campbell, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was a good player, but I just don't think he's on his levels on the caliber of some of the other guys we got on this tier ranking.
Team world of betrayal, we got Luis Figo from Barca to Real Madrid, which was crazy back in the day. I mean, during the presidential elections, Florentino Perez said, if I become president, I'm signing Luis Figo, which was what Barca's main man at the time. He became president, and the rest was history.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first big cases of what they call in America tampering, where it's kind of a very gray area where I don't know if it's technically legal or not what they did to get him on a contract, but they somehow got it done, got away with it. Hostile the atmosphere was, especially at the Camp Nou.
You saw Pig's head in the corner, just a bunch of trash being thrown at him in the corner.
Okay. So.
And then maybe a few months before that, he was singing a Barca chant after they won La Liga with Barca. I'm sure you guys can look that up. Insulting Real Madrid fans, but
I don't know what you think, but I think this is an S tier impact because it strengthened that Clásico rivalry. It made it even stronger, and it's probably arguably the biggest betrayal of all time, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. S tier for Luis Figo. All right, another big money move, or probably one of the first biggest. Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United to Real Madrid for 80 million, which was, I think he beat, before that was like I think he beat Kaká, but before that was Zidane from Juve to Real Madrid. But I mean, 80 million for a player, it was crazy back in 2009, arguably the best player in Real Madrid's history.
So this is a funny one because obviously the transfer itself, it's an S tier because he was the top 2 player in the world at the time, and obviously whenever one of the best is moving, that's a big move. So if the funny thing with this one is if you would have done this tier ranking after the first 3 years of his tenure at Real Madrid, you probably would have put him in like a C tier because they didn't win basically anything in the first. I mean, he was still performing well individually, but Real Madrid didn't get much out of it. Yeah. But like if you go down this whole Real Madrid up until 2018, it's for sure, it's got to be an S tier one.
Well, for sure, everything he achieved Real Madrid S tier, but I mean, just looking at it as a whole, you said he was what, 1, if not 2, best player in the world to be moving for what, 80 million? Which is crazy, the crazy amount at that time, but I mean, you think of what an 80 million player is now, and it's just
80 million euros, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it came out to like 94 million.
Yeah, so you think of that amount for a player today, and you get 1/8 of what the player Cristiano was.
Yeah, and considering like what he achieved with them, it was honestly kind of a bargain. Looking at some of these other transfers.
Yeah, and then he moved to Juve, and I think they got a profit out of him.
Yeah. I think it was like 100 million, right?
Yeah, so if we put his Real Madrid move S tier, what would you rank his move to Juve?
I think it was, so this one is definitely, he's on the later end of his career, so I think this one we could probably bump it down to A or B tier. I'd say B solid, just because he performed again individualistically, but as a team, they brought him in to take Juve to the next level and win the UCL. They didn't achieve it. And also, I think they ended up losing their first Scudetto in a long time.
Yeah, so. Second or last season, I think they lost after dominating the league for years.
Which honestly, it wasn't his fault completely, but part of that, so that's kind of brings down his impact a little bit.
I'd go far as maybe even going C, maybe D, because like you said, they brought him to win the UCL, that main purpose, and they didn't, so.
I'm okay with the C, just because he did score a lot of goals.
Yeah. Individually, he did good, but for the main reason that they signed him, paying that amounts of money, it didn't happen. So we got another Prem transfer here. Titi Henry from Juve to Arsenal for what, 11 million, which is, I mean, he was very, very raw and now is arguably considered the best player of the Premier League history. So for 11 million, it's crazy. It's almost for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's crazy to think, like, when he came from Juve, he was kind of looked at as like basically kind of a flop in the Italian league.
Yeah, I think he was even like a winger. And then Arsene Wenger tried him as a striker, and again, the rest is history.
For Arsenal especially, that's definitely an S-tier transfer. And for the Premier League as a whole, we would have never seen arguably their GOAT without this transfer. So I'm going to say it's an S-tier.
All right, another S-tier. Nice. All right, another guy we can talk about maybe revolutionizing the Prem. What about Sergio Aguero from Atletico Madrid to Man City?
That's, again, another one of these transfers. It was 35 million, which I'd say is a pretty, considering the market at the time in 2011? Considering that time period, that's probably a reasonable price for a striker of his caliber. He was good on Atletico, don't get me wrong, but he was nowhere near where he reached with City.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people consider him probably like at least a top 10 striker in Prem history.
Yeah, I think he's the fourth greatest goal scorer in the Prem history. So I mean, just numbers speak for themselves, and who's ever gonna forget that famous Aguero?
Play the clip.
Yeah, but as far as impact on City and the league as a whole, I mean, what else can you ask for? So what do you think, A, B?
I'm gonna say it's not an S, just because he did not get to conquer the Champions League.
Yeah.
But I think as a whole, it could probably be an A tier.
Okay. All right, Aguero A tier.
I still feel like in those bigger games, he lacked a little bit of. He didn't show up as much, but A's fair.
What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Any transfers you guys want us to cover next?
We miss them.
Let us know.
If you want to see more tier ranking or videos like this, if you enjoy footy content in general, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, comment, leave a like. Until then, it's only up from here, boys.
Take it easy.
Peace.